It is extra rounds here on UFC Fight Pass, and we're all talking about jiu-jitsu, so it's like extra rounds on the ground rounds. Hey, everybody, I'm TJ DeSantis. He's Brandon Mccaghren. Is this true? You and I get to do a show on Fight Pass like twice in 30 days?
I guess it is true.
That's pretty exciting. You're almost a regular around here.
Yeah, maybe we can work it in.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. How are you?
Thanks, man. Feeling good. Off to a good start. Gym here in Decatur, 10th Planet Decatur. Really been growing, really seeing the students excel a lot recently. So things are good. We just got out of practice.
Well, that's good. I'm here to talk more jiu-jitsu with you because I don't know if you heard, it's kind of a big deal. ADCC, which you're a veteran of, just the commentary team. We're just going to call you an ADCC veteran.
We better be careful with that.
I mean, I did it when I called Quintet Ultra with Eddie Bravo. I called him a UFC and Pride veteran of their commentary teams. So, you know, just take what I give you, BMAC. Be happy with it.
Listen, I'll take it. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little more than a Naga veteran. So I don't know if that's going to ride over too well, but we'll go with it for now.
All right. Well, and if anyone gets mad, just blame me because that's what you should do. So,
that sounds like a good play.
But yeah, no, ADCC is coming to UFC Fight Pass, and it is a big deal because if anybody knows anything about, no-gi grappling, gi grappling, grappling in general, ADCC is kind of the Olympics. It's I think they call it a biennial thing because it's every 2 years. Is that did I make that word up? Is that a real word?
I don't know, man. I'm from Alabama, so I try not to say stuff like that.
Okay.
How
about we say it's every other year?
Yeah, every other. That's the way we would say it.
Okay, perfect. And
Sure.
it's got the greatest grapplers in the world. And I remember the first time I heard the acronym ADCC. It was on a UFC broadcast. Joe Rogan called Rico Rodriguez an ADCC champion, and I just nodded my head because you never admit what you don't know when you're a hardcore MMA fan. And I had no idea what that meant. I just thought it was some regional MMA promotion, but no, turns out it was, sort of the mecca when it came to grappling. And, can I ask, Mr. ADCC veteran of the commentary team, when did you first hear of ADCC?
Man, I don't know. I think it was probably when Marcelo Garcia made his run in 2003. That was the same year that Eddie beat Hoyler.
Right.
When he triangled Hoyler Gracie. And then Marcelo had that big run where he came out of nowhere. He won I think he finished second in the Brazilian trials. And then he got put into the tournament kind of at the last second. And then he comes in and he had the big afro, remember?
Of course.
It was like Marcelo afro.
Yeah.
He came in and he choked out, I think it was Shaolin in the first round without the hooks, put him to sleep. And then just kind of casually strolled off. That was definitely the first year I heard about it. I don't remember where I heard about it first.
I mean, I think you probably heard Joe Rogan say it on a UFC broadcast.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, because I mean that's where I heard it, and then being a good hardcore mixed martial arts fan, I ended up Googling it, and then I found Best of ADCC Volume 4 or something like that. It was a DVD, and it had Tito Ortiz, who was the UFC light heavyweight champion at the time, taking on Ricardo Arona, who was one of the standouts in Pride Fighting Championships, and they fought each other. It was a grappling match, and I needed to see that, so I bought the DVD and then realized I don't know anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, at least not to the point where I can watch it without commentary back in 2003. So, it was a bit of a learning curve for me, but I was really excited to see the possibilities that ADCC brought because it wasn't really a promotional thing in the sense of, champions or, contracted athletes and, different promotions could still grapple one another. And back in the day, it was crazy to think that Tito could go against Ricardo Arona.
Yeah, and then Matt Hughes was in there.
Yeah.
George St. Pierre was an ADCC veteran. Damian Maia, of course, did really well at ADCC. Glover Teixeira. I mean, it's been packed out with gangsters for a long time. And from other, like you're saying, from other disciplines too. It's
Right.
not just really a jiu-jitsu tournament. It really is like a submission wrestling tournament.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and another name that doesn't get thrown around a lot, I think he won in 2005 or 4, was Alistair Overeem. He won a European trials. He was guillotining everybody. a Dutch kickboxer goes over and wins with guillotines, and he was doing it in MMA, but for the Demolition Man to go do it in ADCC, that was
That's
pretty
when he
exciting.
carried the hammer around.
That's right. Yeah, I always wondered how he brought that damn hammer to Japan. Like, are you checking that thing? You know what I mean? You're not carrying it on.
He might have bought it in Japan.
Maybe. He had to park it somewhere at a storage locker just for his hammers.
He should have kept carrying the hammer.
I loved it.
That was a good move.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he was getting tired. He just kept getting bigger and stronger. So,
for real, dude, he changed into like a whole different person.
Yeah.
Over the course of just a couple of years.
Yeah, but one thing I was looking at the history of ADCC and just looking at their champions, and like this is still a tournament in a format that is really dominated by Brazilians. We've had some success here in America with Americans winning, but like you look at the history, historically, Brazilians still sort of run this. We've seen some stars, Gordon Ryan to name one. We'll talk about some others here in a moment, but this is still a tournament that the Brazilians call theirs in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but that's really tempered back the last couple of years, the last couple of events. Of course, we got Gordon, who's the best ever at the ADCC rule set right now. Be hard to pick out somebody else. You could make an argument for Rafa Mendes. You could make an argument for Marcelo Garcia. You could make an argument for Roger Gracie, but really, at this point, the leader, the guy who's at the top of the all-time list, is an American.
Well, technically, not really.
What do you mean?
If we're talking about most titles, it's still Andre Galvao.
Yeah,
but this is where it's interesting. I want to see if I can pick up what you're throwing down without you telling me, because this is the thing. When it comes to actual championships, Galvao has the most with, I believe, 6. Yeah, it's 6. He's got 1 absolute championship, 1 divisional championship being in his weight class, and then 4 super fight belts. And I don't want to say that. Right. I don't want to say that a super fight belt doesn't mean you're a champion, but when you win divisional belts, that speaks volumes more than, say, just winning a super fight.
I'm not the guy who makes the rules and the titles.
Right.
But in my opinion, you're only the ADCC champion if you win the bracket, either your division or the absolute.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I'm counting off ADCC champions, when I see that, I count that's Andre with 2 ADCC titles and 4 super fight titles.
Which shouldn't be maybe in the overall count, or like
is it different. 4 or is it 3?
So it is 4 super fights, 1 absolute, and then 1 85 kilogram.
Who all did he beat in the super fight? So he had the super fight against Gordon that he lost. He beat Pena.
So let me go over Gordon real quick. Yeah, Gordon has 5, 3 divisional rankings, 88, 99, and above 99. And then he has 1 absolute and then 1 super fight. Man,
he just looked unstoppable this year. Or this last year, I guess. It was just unbelievable to even watch, especially to be there, Matt's side, as it was going down. It was such a display of I've never really seen or even imagined that there could be that much dominance over the course of a weekend like that. It was unbelievable. And for him to do both his division and the super fight, and that just taking on that challenge in and of itself is insane. But then to dominate all the way through everybody he went with, he totally dominated him. It was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, that's why he's the king, no?
Yeah, that's why he's the king.
So Andre Galvao beat Braulio Estima for his first super fight championship. Then he beat Cyborg Abrao.
Cyborg. That was the other one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, Claudio Calasanz, is that how you say that?
Calasanz, yeah.
And then Felipe Pena. So.
Yeah. I didn't remember the Cyborg one. I remembered that he went up against, of course, he just had the match with Gordon, and then the previous one was Pena, Felipe. And that one was long, drawn out match, man.
We'll talk about the rules here in a moment. But another one in the mix is sort of like all-time GOATs when it comes to ADCC. You already mentioned his name, Marcelo Garcia. He has 4 championships, all divisional, all in the 77 kilogram bracket. So
Yeah. So for me, if you're gonna make an argument for ADCC GOAT, Marcelo makes a good argument.
mhm.
Marcelo makes a good argument because he did so much damage in his weight class over and over and over again. 2003,
Right.
2005. I think he took silver in. He might have. I can't remember 2007 if he took gold or silver, but then 9 he goes again. He was just incredible. Did you hear that Marcelo announced this past week that he has stomach cancer?
No, I did not. That's terrible
Yeah,
news.
yeah, really, really like devastating. But
Oh.
gonna have to go through like some pretty serious surgeries and chemotherapy. So shout out to the goat.
Recently I had a chance to travel with you, and you start talking about weird things when you travel. And I was talking about my new love for soccer, and you told me I needed to stop this. Not just talking about it, but watching soccer
Yeah,
altogether.
we gotta stop that.
Right, but I need to call upon soccer for a brief moment when talking about ADCC, because there are some similarities here, and that is the qualification system. You can win trials. You can also be invited, obviously, but the fact that you can really compete and earn your way all the way to an ADCC title, it's similar to that of the World Cup in soccer, and I think that's exciting. And I know you might want to talk smack about soccer, but I don't think you'll ever talk smack about someone doing well in sporting competitions and taking their future into their own hands and succeeding at a high level.
Well, if you didn't see the trials for the last 2 ADCC events, the trials are some of the most exciting events that there are. In a lot of ways, the trials are even more fun than the big main event when it rolls around. The West Coast trials for the last ADCC, I think it had something like a couple of divisions had well over 200 people in them because it's open.
Yeah.
It's open to any rank. As long as you can make the weight, it doesn't matter what your experience level is. They drop you in the bracket and you just got to sort it out. Who's the man? And it takes an entire weekend to win that bracket.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing too. That's the thing too. Like you said, how many ever people are in it? Like you got to go beat those people, and that's why looking at some of the accomplishments of Marcelo Garcia, he owns the most submissions in ADCC history with 24 submissions.
Submission rate was just unbelievable, and he evolved too. That was one of the most beautiful things about watching Marcelo's career. Is like he started out. He was the butterfly guard, X guard, rear naked choke guy. Like he had an incredible back game, and he always had those weapons throughout his career. But as guys started to catch on to some of the innovative things he was doing, like the X guard or like his arm drag, single leg game that he was so good at, as they started to catch on to that, he started to evolve his game, and he added his north south choke, and he added his guillotine game, and he added his omoplata game. And he was able to use all of those things and just constantly like reach new levels. So everybody was always playing catch up with Marcelo. Really, again, man, just make the argument he's the best guy to ever step on a jiu-jitsu mat.
I mean, statistically, he makes that argument, very easily. Let's talk about I already let the cat out of the bag. I don't know if you remember it, but do you know who the first American to win a gold medal at ADCC was?
The first American to win the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Kerr.
Nope. 1 year before Kerr. Munson and Kerr did it the same year in 99.
No, I don't then.
Rico Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah, you already said that.
It's all right. At least you were paying attention. You just didn't have it right there. But in 99, Munson and Kerr did it. And then Kerr won double gold in 2000, winning 99 plus and then the absolutes. Dean Lister won in 2003. Munson again in 2005. Robert Drysdale in 2007. He won the absolute. No gold for Americans in 2009, but Ryan Hall took home bronze at 66 kilograms. 2011, we saw Lister and Lister win gold at 99 kilograms. Jeff Glover took bronze. No Americans won gold in 2013. In 2015, they added the women's weight classes, and Mackenzie Dern took gold at 60 kilograms. And then 2017, it became the Gordon Ryan show, and he started to shine. 2017, he won gold at 88 kilograms. He took silver that year as well in absolutes. And then 2019, Ryan won double gold, 99 in absolute. And then, we all saw what happened here this last year. winning and also winning that super fight belt.
And Bodoni won.
That's true.
Last one as well.
Yes, sir.
What other? Do we have any other American gold medalists? Let's see. 66 was Baby Shark. Who won 77?
When was that? What
that
year?
was Cade Rotolo. Cade Rotolo won 77. So there's another American.
Yep. I think Orlando Sanchez won as well.
Orlando Sanchez did get gold one year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, but still, mostly Brazilians winning. Also, too, in ADCC, you can actually win a triple crown, which would be divisional, gold, absolute, and then super fight. And there have been 8 triple crown winners in ADCC. You think you can name them? Any of them? There have only been Brazilians and Americans.
So they had to have won
divisional
at some point,
yep,
and absolute at point, and super fight at some point.
Correct.
Okay, so Gordon for sure. We know Gordon.
Gordon's one.
Galval.
Yep.
Okay. Super fights. Now we're talking super fights.
You got 2 Americans left and 4 Brazilians.
Dang. Did Mark Kerr do that?
He did. Good job.
Okay. That was kind of a guess right there. I'm trying to pick out one more American. How about Dean Lister?
Done. Very good job. You named all the Americans.
4 Brazilians also.
Yes, yep.
All right. So Galval.
Yep.
Roger Gracie.
Correct.
Marcelo did not win an absolute.
Nope. He only won divisional.
Yep. So, man, who am I not thinking of off the top of my head?
I can give you some hints here if you'd like.
Okay, I'll take a hint.
All right. I already mentioned this man's name for grappling Tito Ortiz on that best of.
Arona.
Arona, yep.
Arona, yeah, that makes. I don't think Arona ever had a point scored on him.
Really?
I think so. I think that's right.
That's impressive.
I think nobody ever scored a point on him at ADCC.
What the hell happened to Ricardo Arona? Where's he at?
I think he just retired, dog. I don't know.
Is he just fishing on the dock of the bay or something?
Yeah, he's down in Guantanamo with Andy Dufresne.
I just want to see Ricardo Arona
now. Who's the other? Who's the last one?
There's 2 more. One has a lock that you talk about.
There's only one more. We got
Arona. Arona, Gracie, Galval. There's 5 total Brazilians.
Oh, there's 5. Yeah. Oh man, I'm definitely not gonna get the last 2.
One.
Jean-Jacques?
What's that?
Jean-Jacques?
Nope.
He didn't win an absolute.
Nope. This guy was a member of Brazilian top team.
Mario Sperry.
Good job. And then the other one, we always talk about the foot lock that he has named after him. Sock lock.
Oh, Estima, Braulio.
There you go. Good job. Yeah. I mean, you got there. I mean, I'm your lifeline. We got you over the line.
Yeah, I feel a little disappointed in myself. I feel like I should have held all those.
All right, last question regarding ADCC champion.
I like this game. This is fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like games. I play games. Can you name the nicknames of Mark Kerr? There's 3 of them.
Ooh, the Smashing Machine.
Right, that's the one he got in Brazil.
Okay. No, I don't think I know the other 2.
The other 2 were sort of alternated between his UFC appearances. He showed up as the specimen Mark Kerr because the dude.
Oh, I do remember that.
And then he was also known as the Titan Mark Kerr.
Oh, I don't think I ever heard that one.
It's all right. I mean, the
specimen I heard.
Yeah,
but I would have never remembered that.
Do you remember who he beat in his UFC debut? Maybe it wasn't his UFC debut.
No, I don't.
Ranger Stott with the Ranger Intensive Program. You remember that? Remember when they had their weird disciplines?
That had to be what, UFC 12, 13?
Something like that. Let me look it up.
Because he came in after Coleman.
He
so
did.
The original wrestler was Dan Severn.
Right.
And then we kind of rolled to Don Fry-ish.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
He's a boxer wrestler, right? He had wrestling, judo background. He was actually one of the first really well-rounded martial artists. Maybe Marco Huas was the first real well-rounded guy in the UFC. So he won UFC 7, right?
I think so. You got you actually got it right. Not right necessarily 100%, but you did better than me. I thought Mark Kerr made his UFC debut against Greg Stott, Ranger Stott at UFC 15. He did not. He won a 4-man tournament at UFC 14 when he beat Modi Horenstein.
Modi, the Krav Maga guy.
And Dan Bobish.
Oh, I remember that tournament. That was awesome. Dan Bobish that guy was, I mean, he wasn't a world beater, but he was a real handful, and he had some decent fun to watch fights in Pride.
And I mean, he always looked good on a poster on those old King of the Cage fights. Like you were buying tickets or, showing up.
Built like a bowling ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, Bobish. I haven't heard that name in so long, dude.
I know. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to forget some of these things. Like, this is where my hardcore MMA knowledge really lies. But if I lose names like Dan Bobish, then I've just lost anything that really makes me worthwhile in covering MMA.
Yeah, who are you at that point if you don't have Dan Bobish?
I don't know. I really don't know. I still got Mike Bork somewhere in there as well. So.
For my money, this past ADCC was the greatest event in the history of jiu-jitsu, the history of submission grappling, we might even say. It was incredible. I mean, we were at what's the name of the arena?
Thomas and Mack Center.
Thomas and Mack, where UNLV plays ball.
Yeah.
And there's a statue of Jerry Tarkanian outside, and it's chewing on the towel. I mean, I grew up watching UNLV play. I was a huge basketball fan coming up. I came up watching UNLV play ball, watching Larry Johnson out there doing his thing, watching UNLV's rivalry with Duke, where they went back and forth in the national championship game those couple of years. So for me to even, old Alabama boy, to even be over there in the arena was cool, but then to be on the floor of the arena and it's packed out with jiu-jitsu nerds.
Right. Yeah.
It was just like the most surreal experience. And then when Haisam Rita, this is probably like the third or fourth match, and Haisam Rita comes out and he's got Cyborg and they're on my mat and I'm calling the match. And Haisam Rita jumps on this arm lock. And when he did it, I just jumped. I was like, I'm going crazy. I'm standing up screaming, Haisam Rita's got the arm lock. And the arena is just exploding all around me. I remember I just stood up as I was screaming and I went like this, just looking around at everybody while it was going down. It was just legitimately, like, for a jiu-jitsu guy, there can't be a crazier experience than that unless I'm the one out there hitting the arm bar. It was just
right. Yeah.
I don't know. It was like a dream, man. Like, it's still thinking back of it. It's one of the most incredible moments of my life. And
to kind of put that into perspective for people, when Pride Fighting Championships came over to the United States for the first time, that's where they went, Thomas and Mack.
Yeah. And that was when Diaz hit the Gogo Plata.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Takanori Gomi Goma Plata.
Yeah. But think about this.
That's one of my favorite fights ever.
There were more people in the building when you were calling ADCC than when Diaz hit Gomi with the Go-Go.
Really?
Yeah. ADCC outdrew Pride. Back-to-back nights, by the way, than as far as attendance is concerned.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but rumor has it they're looking for T-Mobile. I say rumor has it. Mo has said that Mo Jassim, the guy who's the organizer for ADCC, he's made it public. Like, I am trying to book us into T-Mobile Arena for this next ADCC. And man, we're gonna fill that thing up. I think this is gonna be I think he's gonna blow it out of the water.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me to even think about.
Right, and you know, like, it's surprising because you and I have been around combat sports and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you a lot more intimately than me. But, like, I mean, how many times do some amazing matches in a grappling event take place in a high school gymnasium? You know, we don't really think about them being elevated to the same arena as, you know, the great athletes in combat sports, whether it be boxing or mixed martial arts, are competing in the fight capital of the world. Grappling might be able to go in a building like that and do well. What?
And sell it out. I think we'll sell it out. It's wild, man. It's been a wild time to be involved. Like, just the role that you and I get to play. Just over the last, how long have we been working together now?
Since 2018, the end of 2018.
That's crazy, first of all. Yeah, what EBI was that? It was the ladies' EBI. It was the last EBI.
It was 18.
EBI 18. So that was my first time working with you, right?
Yeah, and I just wanted you to stop singing so bad.
That's what I did.
But then before the end of the night, I was like, I love this guy. And honestly, like I enjoy your man, it's gonna sound weird, companionship in the booth on nights for EBI and combat jiu-jitsu because of your just obsession and infatuation with jiu-jitsu as sport, because you're definitely a commentator and you're approaching it from a different level, but like you have a love that is undeniable for this game. And it's one that honestly, when Eddie told me what he was trying to do with EBI, like I didn't think that it was like jiu-jitsu as a televised sport that is attractive to the casual fan. I didn't see it, man. I just didn't. It just has always been a niche of a niche. And like I appreciated it, but I didn't think that you were ever going to get someone to sit down for 2+ hours to watch a grappling event. And yeah, I'll eat that plate of crow every day, B-Mac.
Like I said, man, it's crazy just what we've seen the sport grow into. We've watched it go from like a couple of these places that we've been to with EBI. We're like, whoa, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what is this? What neighborhood are we in?
Right.
And then, you know, they're moving on up to now doing them in the resorts in Mexico, which has been incredible. That's been an awesome experience. And then for the trials at when the ADCC trials came around this last time, and we started seeing these giant brackets, I started thinking, man, this ADCC is going to be really, really special. And it's just been this incremental climb. Just every year, like you said, 2018, every year that we've been working together, the sport's a little bigger. And then there's more people hanging around to take pictures. And there's more people at the events. And there's bigger names showing up to EBI.
Yeah.
And then there's more money in the pot. And then here comes the trials. And the trials really started to set the stage for what was going to be possible. And man, when the tickets went on sale for ADCC, I don't know how fast they sold out, but I know it was fast. Not only did they sell out that big arena, but they sold it out fast. It went fast.
Yep.
And now, man, I think we're primed to. I really think that we're in this stage. Like you think back to the evolution of the UFC and MMA, but specifically, let's think about the UFC.
Okay.
You know, it starts out, it goes to McNichols Arena. You know,
right. Bill Superfoot Wallace burping into the microphone. Welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Challenge.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are about to see something that you have never seen before, the Ultimate Fighting Challenge. Hello, I'm Bill Wallace, and welcome to McNichols Arena in fabulous Denver, Colorado.
But it starts out there. That's a pretty epic show.
Right.
But there was a period there where the UFC was looking a little sketch.
Oh, yeah.
And they're having to last second it in Dothan, Alabama.
Right. Of course. Let's pack up the trucks. We're driving to Dothan.
I love Alabama, but when you have to last second change your show to Dothan, it's not going that great.
No, it's not. I mean? It's not. It's not.
But to watch the UFC slowly climb over the years from that moment up to the Chuck versus Tito rivalry,
right?
Up to Randy Couture, and then we started seeing Ronda Rousey, and now we're seeing UFC 100.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden here's Brock Lesnar, and then now the UFC's. I mean, it's one of the biggest sports in the world, but that period around, say, UFC, let's call it UFC 40, around the Ken Shamrock Tito Ortiz rivalry.
So that's
UFC
where
I think jiu-jitsu is right now.
That UFC pay-per-view was really seminal because the UFC had been on pay-per-view, had gotten back on pay-per-view in 2001, and had limited success. It was hard to just show back up on pay-per-view and get people to put down money. The sport hadn't been on regular cable television for pay-per-view for 5 or 6 years at that time. And then Tito and Ken reignite their rivalry after Ken becomes a big star in professional wrestling. And it was the first UFC pay-per-view under the Zuffa umbrella that did over 100,000 buys. And that was the sort of threshold you needed to make money. Because the cable companies were taking 50% of everything. And, that was the first pay-per-view I ever bought from the UFC. And then you had like you mentioned, the Chuck and Tito rivalry, and then the explosion of the Ultimate Fighter. And Yeah, so like if submission grappling in the world right now is at that UFC 40 watermark, get ready for an explosion in one hell of a ride.
I think that's where we're at. We're right at that. And I think we just got there. I think this past ADCC was that moment where Ken versus Tito, they're kicking chairs at the press conference and
I'm gonna beat you into the living death.
and then Tito just,
Because if you don't, I'm going to beat you into the living death.
that's a great moment too. But I think that's where we are, man. And it's been super cool just to even play a small role in that. Like to just even really just to be on the sidelines,
Right.
be there for it, much less to like actually like be for you and I to be like a part of it and a voice and an influence on it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. I just feel so blessed, to be honest with you.
Me too. And you know, it's just beginning. We have the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, the third installment to close out 2022. You know, we're kicking off 2023 with this announcement of the ADCC events coming to UFC Fight Pass. I don't think I'm breaking news here by saying that you can probably expect another UFC Fight Pass Invitational or two in your life moving forward. And it's just amazing, BMAC, to see this opportunity for high-level grapplers to compete on a similar stage to that of any other combat sport that can, you know, make you a draw and, you know, allow you to compete at a high level and be compensated as such.
Let me ask you this. What do we know about how much of ADCC is going to be on Fight Pass? Like, we know the big show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting the trials too on Fight Pass? Oh man. Listen, I'm telling you, we got to be there for the trials. Even if it doesn't end up with me and you doing the work on it, we got to go. I'm going to the trials.
I mean, I'll go to any grappling event with you, whether or not we're getting paid. I mean, don't tell anybody that I don't need the paycheck. Like, I want the paycheck, but if I don't get it, like, let's just go.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go for sure, no matter what happens.
I want the paycheck. I just want to say that again. But
what about the ADCC Opens? Are those going on Fight Pass as well?
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's interesting because that's like that's kind of a newer part of ADCC. They've done some Opens for sure. They've done a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, UFC Fight Pass is your exclusive home for ADCC.
That's the part about this, or it's one of the parts that really excites me about. Obviously, like the extra exposure to the most important combat sports fans in the world. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge for grappling. It's going to move it. Just the fact that it's on Fight Pass, just it's on there.
Yeah.
Moves it to a whole different plane.
100%.
But the marketing and the PR and the promotional power that the UFC is going to bring to the table just to make cool documentaries and pre-fight shows and hype shows. Man, I can't, dude, I'm so pumped. I love jiu-jitsu so much. I'm such a dork.
Are you going to be okay?
I get so excited. I'm such a dork.
I'm worried about you. You get giggly sometimes, you know. You might stay up past your bedtime.
I will if ADCC's.
I got to go to bed, to be honest with you. BMAC, it's fun catching up, talking about submission grappling, and I think we're going to get the opportunity to do that a lot more here on UFC Fight Pass.
I can't wait, man. I always love getting to spend time with you, and any chance to dig into the TJ MMA history mind is exciting for me. So love you, dude.